Jeff Ross tuning in here from down under, down in Tasmania, Australia. Can't wait. I'll actually be traveling over to your side of the world, Sarah, around mid-May. I'm actually coming over to Jamaica, Yaman, and then we're heading over to Disney World with my 13-year-old son. You know, I said to my boys about 4 years ago, my oldest is 14, Lachlan's now turning 13, and Jackson's 9, turning 10. And I said to him, whenever you turn 13, we'll do a father-son trip around the world, wherever you want to go. You know, Harrison chose to go to Japan last year, and Lachlan is he's just so excited because he's getting to go to Disney World. He's always wanted to go to Disney World. So looking for a father-son trip there. And then when they turn 16, they're going to do the same thing, but with mum. And so, just absolutely an amazing lifestyle that we live here. And it's all thanks to, really the affiliate marketing world. And I share this story with you all because, hey, if I can do this, a high school dropout who dropped out at year 9, dyslexic, grammar's atrocious, ADHD on overdrive, I've been doing this now for close on 20 years, but if I can do this, you can too. This lifestyle is possible and it is achievable for everybody to actually arrive at instead of just striving at. But this doesn't happen overnight. Success is really, it's it's consistency, it's showing up day in, day out. And so I've got my friend Sarah Webb here joining us on this call today. She's going to make sure she keeps an eye on the chat box there for me. And we're going to do a bit of Q&A and answer a few people's questions on this new system that Josh launched for us a couple of days ago. And so I'm going to actually, walk you through step by step on how to get started and how to start other people, right? Because Leadership 101 is to empower and equip people to be able to master these tools, to be able to go run with themselves. I'm all about teaching you how to fish rather than fish for you conversation. But before we get started, I do just want to talk to a couple of leadership topics, that type of thing, around actually, having the right frame, the right attitude, the right sort of conversation. And so I'm going to actually share this screen here. Take a screenshot. I'm going to come back to that. But I want to talk to this whole model here of what we call forming, storming, norming, and performing. Just take a quick screenshot of that for me. I'm going to leave it up for a bit, but then I'm going to go to my notes here and unpack this. Basically forming, storming, norming, and performing. I'll come back to it and I'll share that screenshot in a second for you. But these are the 4 stages of pioneering. So they're the 4 stages, I should say, of going through development, right? So the storming phase is where we are right now. I would actually say we're probably in the forming phases, the initial phases, but let's just unpack these stages here, and I'll go back to the screenshot in a second. You can take that for your own reference point. But it's really important to understand that in these stages, things are not perfect. There may be glitches. There may be gaps in the system. There may be things that just don't fully make sense yet. But this is where leaders are forged. If for any of you who know who I am, I'm all about creating hero makers who create other hero makers. But I get it, right? We're just getting started, some of us, and we need a little bit more hand-holding, if you will, to be able to understand key systems, to be able to be empowered, to be equipped. You may not see yourself as a leader yet, but if you're here on this call, you are a leader. And in these phases, I'm going to unpack them for you, but especially in this storming phase, this is where we're not following a polished system yet, although what Josh has delivered is pretty sexy out the gate. But, we are here as the initial pioneers, as the beta testers, if you will, helping to shape the system for others to follow. We're the ones testing, we're the ones giving feedback, we're the ones finding what works and what doesn't work and creating the path for others to follow. When someone explained this to me, they basically created a visual of, landing on, being one of the first pioneers to land on Sydney Cove, when there was no city there at all. There was just bushland. But, being a pioneer, we are the ones who get to show up and get the best prime real estate in that conversation. But as a pioneer, we have to do some work. We have to get the machete out and we have to start carving the bush, whacking the weeds and cutting down the trees to create the pathway for others to follow. And so I think it's really important for us to get our head around, these different stages from this Tuckman model. Let me bring this back up for you here, right? So forming, these are the initial stages where the group comes together, like an idea is formed. During this phase, team members are often asked, polite and positive and focused on understanding the roles of the conversation. This is focusing on a team. So Josh has already had these conversations with our inner circle, questions back and forth. What do we need, right? So that's the idea phase, the dreaming phase. And then we get into the implementation phase. And you can see there's always going to be a little bit of conflict and tension, right? Because things are going through a pressure cooking situation. They're getting broken down so they can get built back up. And so the model here on this screen is showing you through like team building side of things, but you can adopt this whole philosophy for tech development as well. And then we go into norming and we go into performing stages. The other, lesson here that we also want to grab some conversation around is the adoption life cycle. See here, we are innovators. It's only normally 2.5%. And I've had a lot of conversations lately with key leaders of wanting to have all the answers and have everything perfect for others to follow. The reality is nothing is perfect. The reality is we are in the pioneer, we are in the storming phase of this conversation, and it's our duty, it's our responsibility, if you will, to empower and equip others to follow along with us. Now, it's not cut out for everybody. As we can see here, in this adoption life cycle, the early adopters, and then you've got early majority, late majority, and laggards. So like as the bell curve climbs up, the adoption population starts to increase. But here we are those pioneers carving out the pathway for others to follow. So I just want to basically lead with this conversation here before we dive into the step-by-step here to really start to create the expectations, if you will, the pre-frame, of this. So what does this mean? It means that we get to be early positioners. We get to do the early learning, but we get the early advantage. But it's also going to carry uncertainty, testing, and figuring things out as we go. So you've got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. We've got to get comfortable for figuring everything out, embracing what I call Sucksville. Most people will wait until everything's perfect. Everything is proven. Everything is easy. But by then, the opportunity has already shifted. So today, as we unpack the walkthrough here, I'm setting the tone here for the conversation, not to expect perfect, but to expect progression. It's all about the pre-frame. It's all about what we do when we go into it. Don't expect everything to be done for you as well, but expect to think, test, and apply, and build with those who are doing the same thing. See, we're not here to be consumers. We're here to build, we're here to lead, and we're here to pioneer. And that's where truly that the magic happens here. To be able to go into something like this and in 3 months go and earn $100,000 from the partner program in just 90 days, it's had to require an attitude and thinking and in a space, if you will, to go into this and we go, all right, I'm one of the first. Got to get really excited about that. Get rid of the stinking thinking attitude of things that, all the problems that people are bringing to me, and be the buffer between them and the problem, and be the buffer to create that change and that transformation for them. Because what people are looking from you, from me, from Josh, is they're looking for posture. They're looking for certainty. They're looking for the people who are the captains of the ship and know how to navigate through the storms. And so what Josh has created here with this amazing system is definitely going to empower us all and equip us all to run really fast. But in this stage of storming, before we start to move into the norming and even into the performing stages, we've got to go into this expecting that there are going to be bumps on the road, that we're going to have to get our machete out, and we're going to have to carve through some forest and some thick, weeds and other stuff here to be able to get to the other side. So I can see that we've got an amazing turnout here for this call today. So thank you very much. Let us know where you're tuning in from around the globe. Let us put a 1 in the comments if you're ready to get started and really go through this step by step and walk through with me as we start to explore this new system together. But I want you to start to put yourself into the pioneer mindset. Has everybody got their machete ready? Has everybody ready to carve through the forest with me? And if that is you, drop a 222 in the comments, because I want to see who is locked in with me. And if it's not you, that's okay. You sit on the sidelines and watch us carve through it, and you can, come in when the journey's right for you. It's okay not to be a pioneer. It's okay not to be an early adopter. But I know through my 20 years experience in this space, or almost 20 years, I should say, the success comes from positioning. It comes from proximity, but it comes from getting in things first. Actually, as I talked through that, I remember a mentor of mine, he said, Jeff, to win in any game in business, you either need to be the first or you need to be the best. But if you can do both, you'll crush it every single time. And so we are the best. I know that. With what we have, with the resources and the leadership and the community, we are the best. We are one of the fastest growing communities here on Aurum, especially with the Freedom Pro ecosystem, with the team that we've got behind us, to be the best. People are talking about us, but we are also one of the first to the marketplace as well. And so I understand that your circle may be feeling like it's starting to get a bit saturated, but we're still early. There are only 70,000 people worldwide that know about Aurum, that are helping to build this. We are still early. And when we start to leverage systems, like I built the last 3 months without a system, really, and a lot of you who have been on this journey with me, we've been figuring it out, right? We've been dialing it in. And so let's get into it. Let me share my screen and let's actually walk through step by step. Now, I'm going to actually grab my affiliate link, if you will, my link. And I'm going to go through and set it up as a step-by-step process, as if this was new and I was figuring it out with you, right? I'm going to embrace the suck as we go. I'm going to figure it out, and we're going to answer some of your questions as we go as well. So Sarah's going to, if you've got questions as we go, Sarah's going to take mindful of them, and we're going to come back and spend the last 10, 15 minutes on Q&A. All right. Drop a 777 in the comments if you're ready to start that process with me. Let me just, I'm going to open up an incognito window on my screen so I can start with a fresh, clean slate. Let's do that. All right, share screen, share screen, share screen. There's the share screen button. There we go. All right, so I've just given my link, right? So proaifinance.com, go with my code on the back of it. And so it says, this person, you've been invited by Jeffrey Ross to actually come and explore this. So the very first thing that when you share this link is we're capturing the details right away. I'm a customer value journey expert, and I work with businesses all around the world. And one of the things that I see people missing out on the opportunity is they're not building their list. They're not capturing the leads to be able to stay in touch, to be able to communicate them with, to be able to build relationship. And so Josh has gone ahead and set up this gateway, if you will, right away from step one. So I'm just going to put in, for this example, test run, right? So you put in your email address and all of that, jargon. Actually, I'm going to put a proper email address in because it will send a welcome email to an all. And okay, guys, you got my email and you got my phone number now. Don't abuse that privilege. We'll block you pretty quickly if you do. But anyway, so we've got past the first gateway. We've captured a lead. We've turned traffic into a lead in that conversation. And as you can see, this is a very sexy funnel. Like, I built funnels for a living. And this grabs your attention straight away. It goes through what I call the caveman test. The caveman test is this for me? What's in it for me? And what is the next steps? You can see start free, and answer those questions in the first 3 seconds. But for those of us who want more information, we're going to go through here and we're going to look for it and we're going to get the detail. So it plays here the quick 12-minute video that Josh and myself have put together. This is probably one of Josh's presentations, only focusing in on the video, of course. We scroll down here. What's going on here? We've got a bit of a glitch. No, okay, it's just a bit of a slow lag. My internet's playing up. All right, we've got an amazing calculator here. Like, I'm not going to go through it all too much. Josh has already done his here for us, but you can see this page has got a lot of thought put into it to answer a lot of people's questions. One of my favorite sayings, right, is don't be a tool, use the tools. So, like, when someone says yes, me, for learning more information, I've learned in the whole process, the less I say, the more I actually get paid. You know, I put the tools to work. So when someone asks, yes, and I'm looking for ways to make things duplicatable, right? And so I share the tool. I actually don't answer people's questions at the start. And if they come back to me and 60 seconds later and say, Jeff, how much is to get in? Jeff, what's this? And start asking a heap of questions, my initial go back to them is have you gone through and watched the video yet? If you haven't, go and watch the video. I'm not going to answer questions until you have. Like, I'm putting a boundary down in place. But see, here's the thing. I'm not pandering to to that sort of conversation. I've got a bit of posture about it all, and controlling and directing the flow of the conversation as a leader would, and not going to answer their questions then and there. I'm not going to become the tool. And I pre-frame that to people, and I coach the people. Don't be a tool, use the tools, and use that as an opportunity to see who is coachable. It's also a really great way to qualify people in or out in the conversation, right? So you share the tool with them, and the tool does the work. All right, so they go, yep, I want to get started. I love this. Next step. All right, so let's get you set up, right? So, first name, last name. All right, so we'll put in a different email address this time, and let's just drop in my wife's phone number at this time. All right, so we're going to go now, continue to onboarding. Right, so that has now created a new person to join the team. Now, they haven't joined Aurum yet. They've just joined Pro AI Finance. Right, now I know here it's got my code here on my first level. So I haven't even set up the rotator or anything like that yet. So you want to make sure that where you're putting people, and we'll come back to placement in a second, because I know that has been a question, and a lot of people are looking at that's one of the major glitches. I'm going to come back to all those questions. But you want to make sure that, up here in the browser, that you've got them where you want to place them. Now, just quickly, here's a shortcut. It does break the system a little bit, but a quick shortcut is just to change that code, and away we go. But we want to make sure that we're using the system. So this is going in and assuming that has got the right link to where we need to go. And it's onboarding people, right? So if you're in USA, you will need to set up a VPN. We've got a free VPN or a paid VPN option. And so you choose and go through what's your options for you. And then you're going to go through and create an account. Now, I'm not going to go through this step by step. I want to get into the back dashboard with our Pro AI Finance system. But you're going to go ahead and create an account. All right, so let's say they've gone ahead and created an account now. Now, right down the bottom here, you'll start to see, where was it? I think I've gone too far. All right, so we've gone top up your account. Step 9, stay connected. Step 9, withdraw your funds. And then you've also got a calculator here to be able to see what it's going to go through. Now you want to go directly down the bottom here, and you want to get your own system, right? So you want to get people plugged in, set up onto Aurum first. That's step 1, really, or phase 1. Phase 2 is now get them plugged into community, now get them plugged into the tools. And so this is how we're going to now set up our own system. All right, so I'm going to use one of my wife's email addresses here just because I want to use a completely blank slate here. And I want to go through and put in the Aurum referral code, right? So Aurum referral code from the back office. Well, that here is my personal one. And we want that happening right from the beginning, so people are using and it's getting coded back to the right people. Now, to be very clear, this is an independent system from Aurum. It's not talking to Aurum. It's completely independent, and it's just it's a tool for us to use between us and Aurum to help to speed up the process. Okay, and so I'll come back to questions. So now we're going to go generate funnel link. Beautiful. All right, so Pro AI Finance. Now I've got the link, and you're going to be sent an email. And it's going to say, welcome to the system. Here's access and how you can get access to your dashboard, and away you go. Now, I'm just going to shortcut the email. I'm just going to put up here now, I'm just going to put in dashboard. All right. So now I'm going to have to go sign in to the email. Now, the email would have given me the login details. So I'm just going to quickly log in here for a second. You just go to my email. Get the login details from my wife's email account there for it, and I'll be back. 2 seconds. Just going through these screens here. So just bear with me, guys. I'm walking you through step by step here. And so you're going to go to email. There'll be a welcome email there with the login details for the Pro AI Finance side of the conversation. All right, so just to be, so I'll bring back in 2 seconds, guys. I know I'm doing this live here with you, so I just don't want to show my wife's email for a second. Let me just see if I can bring it up for you. All right. So here, I've actually used my wife's account before in the past with her testing run, but here's what the email looks like, right? It says, welcome to Pro AI Finance, right? So your links are ready with all your codes and, all of that sort of thing. And then it's going to take you to your dashboard, right? So you're going to go to your dashboard and that's automatically logged me into my main dashboard. So let me log out of that one. Where's the log out button gone? Sorry, guys. And this is pretty fluid. It is moving, right? So where's Josh going to move the log out button?
If you actually go to where your name is, down on the bottom left, that
That's right.
little door thing on the right side, right? Oh, then that one next to it, on the right next to it, right there.
No, that takes
There
you
you
to the Team Hub. That actually doesn't log you out of the system.
go. All
It just
right.
takes you to the page. So see this, guys. This is learning as we go as we're moving. So
Right.
things are fluid and things get moved around. There was here. Where's he going to move it? There is a way to log out of the system. I know that. Profile. All right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go to incognito window. So I'm going to copy that link, open up incognito window. This is where I want it to be. All right, so now we've got the dashboard here. All right, so if you log in and, you've forgotten your password or anything like that, so you can go forgot password process, and it's going to send you a reset link to your email. This is, like I said, that pioneering phase, right? So things aren't necessarily always a smooth thing. So this is where we've got to bring grace and understanding and patience into the equation. I might have to pivot and adjust to my approach here because that email is not coming through quick enough for me. All right, let me see if I can log in with remembering what the actual password was. Okay, we are going to pivot. I'm going to basically pretend my account that I've got here working is the brand new account. All right, so now you've logged in, right? You've come to your back dashboard. And so I don't want you to pay any attention to the leads and numbers. I'm going to go through this step by step as we go through. But let's say we've got a brand new account, right? And you're going to go, first thing you're going to do is where I want everybody to point to, Josh has thought of this, step by step on how we can get started, right? So he's created this roadmap for success. And this is where we need to be pointing people to get started with this process and go through, right? So, and you want to make sure that you're ticking off each stage to know where you're up to. Like if you get distracted, you can come back to it, right? So we've logged in and the account is active, right? So we're going to go in here and we're going to go now, ORM code is entered. And you can go to your profile and you can test it all out. You can update your photo and your name and your set. And, you get into the rotator link and configure it. It's going to go through here step by step and help you to, make sure it's activated, test a link, shared in social media. We've got a pipeline that I'm going to walk you through and it goes through here. So he's thought of everything to go through stage by stage by stage by stage. Right. So, and you can download this playbook here as well as a PDF and you can come back to it. So it's got, systems here, for work for logging to your dashboard. So let's say we're onboarding someone new, right? This is where we can go through. And you can also use this as a bit of a presentation to walk through them with that stage. Then we're going to go back to our dashboard. So, yeah. All right. So now I want me to log back in because let's try and log back here. Okay. So we want to go through the roadmap to success here. And this is actually quite new as well. Add to the home screen. That wasn't there 24 hours ago. So this is what I mean by being pioneering and being fluid and just coming in here and always playing. When I come into a new system, I just start clicking and I just start pushing buttons and go, oh, what's this do? Oh, what's that do? And I try to break things really. And I figure it out as I go, right? And that's how we go in here into that space. And so you've got the rotator link here on your dashboard. You've got your add to team members, which I'll come back to in a second. You got your day one checklist again. So there's been things that have been actually repeated, and making it easy for you to find access to. There's actually a lot of thought. There's a lot of detail that's gone into this to give you everything that you need to be successful. Now, I understand that when you can come back into something like this, it can feel overwhelming. And that's okay, right? Because that is just your natural stress response. It's understanding that you're out of your comfort zone and your body's stress response is to go into overwhelm. And we either go into fight, flight, or fight conversation. And for me, I go into fight mode. I want to figure things out so I can win the game. You know what I mean? Some people freeze and some people run away. Just recognize that that overwhelm is normal, and to come into this with an open heart, with an open mind, and in an open space to figure everything out as we go. And that's why we're doing these calls. Now, the only difference between you and me is I'm just a little bit further down the path that you are in figuring this out. And so we're figuring this out together as we grow, right? So you got your dashboard, come in here and navigate it, have a really good play of where you want to go through that stage. And go through and set up. Now you got your funnels. You got the smart rotator link, which is just ingenious with what we got going here. And we'll come back to that. We're going to spend a fair bit of time answering questions around that. But as you build this out, you basically want to just have one link that you share with people. And as the rotator link works, it'll continue to keep pushing people into the right spot and the right team where you need them to go. Now, I understand that there's people who have been in early pioneering days with us. It hasn't quite worked out as it's meant to work out, or they haven't built the system and put the codes in the right place. Whatever it is, I'm not going to make any assumptions here. And someone's been placed in the wrong position. And then look, I get it, right? It's frustrating because the system hasn't worked as it's meant to have worked, either whether it be the system error or human error. But this is where we then take a step back and go, right, what can I take ownership of? What can I take accountability of and responsibility of? And how can I be a solution-focused person and pivot and adjust? And so the advice to that person is okay, well, have they funded their bot yet? No. All right, well, then just go and set up a new account and put them in the right position. And so like when I first started, I had the same conversation. I didn't have a tool like this, and I put people in different positions, left, right, and center. And I get it. It creates a bit of tension. It creates a bit of mess. It's up to us to keep our posture, to keep our confidence, and just go, all right, let's go into solution-focused mindset. Always be solution-focused, not problem finders. And when you can come into this with that right attitude and that thinking, this starts to actually be fun and it starts to be experimentative, and you can start to get into that, right? So you got your funnels where you're going to have your main three funnels here is your rotator link. But if you've got a customer that just wants the customer, you just copy that and click and play and go and check these out before you send them to anybody, so you know what you're sending to people. The live webinar, that's a pretty cool one. I've sent that out a few times now as well. And, it basically just comes up to and say here, click join now to the audio. You can see Baby Drew's there playing. Now, they can't pause it because it's live, right? It's got the live feel. It's got the comments going there. Right, so let me just bring that back in there. So turn the music off for a second. And you can see there, it's got the live comments really in there. It's feeling like it's a live experience. And then they're going to go get access to Aurum. So it's going to go through the onboarding stages, as we just talked about quickly before as well. So there we go. That's a live webinar that's been hosted every 2 minutes, really. As you can see there, when you share it, it's 2-minute countdown. So we don't have to wait for our calls now to be on a certain time. We're looking for ways to make people be able to get rid of bottlenecks, to help people to run faster and be empowered and equipped to be able to go run in a way. Let's face it, to turn up to a live webinar these days, everybody does that. So we're looking for ways to zig and zag and give people convenience to be able to do things on their time and schedule. And then that's where we can leverage the follow-ups and the Q&As with our three-way conversations, which we'll do some training on that another time. All right, so you've got your funnels there, which you can get access to. I've got too many tabs open. Let me close a few down. All right, so we've got our funnels there where we can get things to access to. Now, this is really, really sexy here. And because one of the things that I love to do, right, is to, measure the numbers, inspect what you expect. You've seen in the team chats, I've been talking about daily numbers and all of that sort of conversations. And what we've got here is a pipeline that we can start to see where people are moving forward, left, right, and center. It helps you to give you track of where people are in what we call the money funnel. The money funnel is a new lead. It's contacted, it's qualified, it's converted, it's either lost. So we're creating a system for you to be able to track and measure your own leads. This actually, these ones here, they're all been test ones. This one here is actually a legit lead, right? So I can go back to him and say, hey, I know that you've gone and checked it out now. You know, where are you at in the conversation? What do you like best? You know, have you got any questions? You ready to get started? You know, I can go through that conversation with him, you know, this person now, and I can click on his contact card. I can then go, okay, yep, this person now is qualified. I can put in my notes here and I can save and move note. Now that's just gone ahead now and moved this person here to qualified. And so the idea here is we can start tracking our leads, and we can also start to measure as a team leader, you know, figure out where our team is at in the whole conversation as well. Now that's pretty cool as a team leader to be able to know where people are at and who's performing and who's just been a bench warmer and who's actually been an entrepreneur versus being a wantrepreneur. And so it empowers you as a leader to have a more empowered conversation because you're more intimate with the relationship where people are at. The success in this game is actually doing the work and being consistent, having the conversations. Your conversions happen off the back of conversations. So now we've got something here. We can actually inspect what we expect and create some measurements in that space because, you know, it gives us a space to create the numbers. Your numbers will always tell the story. You know, if someone comes to me and says, Jeff, this is not working, I can go now into the pipeline and go, all right, well, this person's only had 3 conversations, but this person here's had 300 conversations. So you can start to now create some accountability built into the system as a team leader, but more importantly, for yourself, you know, to be able to help you to measure this and move forward. I've done this sort of thing myself without a system like this, and it can get messy and a bit confusing. ADHD is a superpower in this conversation because I can just go through it manually in my head. But now I've got a visual, and this will help me run a lot faster, and I know it would help you run a lot faster as well. And then we've got the rotator. I'll come back to rotator and rotator controls because I know that that's one of the most important questions that people have. But then we've also got the team hub. The team hub here is what we can give people access now to start to watch the replays as they get loaded up. They've got their member dashboard. You know, in that space, we've got our competition that we're running. At the moment, you have this rank up competition. If you rank up a Vanguard and above within this month, you'll put your entry in and we can track that too. We tried to run this competition before, but we weren't able to track the numbers because it was just, we didn't have this system. Now we can, and now we can deliver on that promise, and we actually can say, right, now this person here has actually played the game, and two lucky people are going to win $5,000. That's pretty cool, right? So then we've got a system here with current entrants that are starting to be able to be tracked. We've got our rank up flyers. You know, play around with these. These are really cool. So you can go ahead, you know, put your name in with the rank up flyer. Go ahead and upload an image. Now let's just say we've got this image here. You can zoom in on it. This is pretty cool. You can actually drag the image around. You can go, you know, okay, I'm elite, and you can go generate flyer. I know one of the glitches that I've brought to Josh's name is when I download this flyer, the name at the top right-hand corner is not there, but I've worked out a solution, right? And so he's fixing that on his team with the tech support, right? So let's see if he's actually gone ahead and fixed it. Still loading template. Okay, so that button's gone away. It disappeared too quick. So there's a glitch. Right. So then that's where I can go back to Josh and our beta tester system, and I can go, right, you know, this is a glitch. And we can start to bring that to his attention, and we can start to perfect it as we go. But now I can go, right, save image as, and I know that that's going to probably, you know, save the image as. And once again, it looks like that is a glitch in the system. So I've just found a glitch. Right. So now I can go back to Josh and I can say, hey, you know, this is what's not working. And this is what we need from you. But we don't want to flood the team support chats. We don't want to flood the support. Sorry, we don't want to flood all of the team chats with support. I'm going to show you where you can report the support to be able to actually, you know, take note of that. We've got our AI generator here as well. You know, obviously I haven't got that unlocked at the moment because I didn't enter my code in. So you got to put in your code to get your system. So let's just, for example, here I'm just going to put SXX. Going to go continue. It's going to ask me to put my name in. So a lot of things are locked unless you actually, you know, follow the system. All right, publish my link. Okay, so now I've got my link, which is obviously not my link. I can use that. Now I can come back down here, and that's probably why maybe the flyer is not working as well, because I didn't do that part. Let's go here, generate flyer. Let's see if that's just working quickly, or if it is a glitch. You know, and so I love being early personally because I love to be able to go figure out these things so when my people come on down the road, that they've already got a system that's working. But also in these early days, when we've got a team that's figuring this out with it, it's all about, as a leader, how we vision cast and how we communicate it and how we create pre-frames and expectations to our team in that space. All right, so now the AI is working, so we can go generate post. Right, so now it's going to come up here with a code, and it's going to basically start to create some social content for us to be able to go and leverage that as well. We've got our live calls, our schedules, our 10 p.m. Okay, we've got our joint community, where we can go to our Telegram chats. Now, here's another thing that's not quite updated right now. These videos will be updated as we go. This is like, phase 1 at the moment, and we'll move into phase 2. I know Josh is creating these videos for phase 2, but they're there ready to show people what's going to come down the pipeline. We've got an objection handler. I've had people ask me questions around, Jeff, how would you respond to this objection? Well, now you don't need to come to me. You can come to your AI tool, and it can help you with that as well. You just type in your question. For example, someone said, this sounds like a scam. How can I respond? Respond. My spelling's hopeless, guys. Thank God for spell check. There we go. All right, and it's going to go create the response for us in that space. How much does it cost to join? Okay, so I totally get why you think that it might be, especially, there's so many things out there. So it's gone through like the feel, felt, found principle of that conversation, and now it's bringing it up to, bringing a call to action, 8 p.m. to come see for yourself. Like, that's pretty cool. But so that's using, the expertise of people like myself and Josh to be able to come up with those responses and how we would respond. And AI is supporting that conversation. You've got your prospecting tools here to be able to help you with that, do the same thing as well. Reaching out to new people. Here's a message you can reach out to. And then you got your team activity here. So you all feel like you're part of a community and it's winning and running together, of course. We've got a testimonial. This is myself, with 100,000 first 90 days. And so we're going to start to leverage up other people's testimonials and start to build out this hub as we go along that conversation. So that's a pretty cool resource in itself. Okay, so you can see your team members are being managed here in this account, whether that sort of thing. Sorry, there's meant to be 14 members there. I'm not sure what's going on there, so I need to go back through in that conversation. Team hub. You got your replay vault here. So there's the last Super Saturday call. Our replay that we're watching here, or Josh's last replay will come up here, more coming soon. So this is where people will find their replays as we get loaded. It'll be the same link every single time. And away we go, right? So let's go through the rotator. Okay, so now we want to add people to our queue, right? So you're going to go here, add my code start with first, and put your code in so it's there at the top. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to make sure your people are following down here with your team cascade as well. Now, the question here with this is, do I put everybody in? Do I go and put my whole team in? And for my answer in the conversation here is no. You want to focus in on the areas that you want to build, right? We've all got 3 legs that we've got to go build. And so I've got 2 really strong legs with, people that are running with those legs. And for me to hit the next rank, I need one of those legs to go to prime. But then the next rank up and above that is I need one to go to, to Oracle and wherever it is. So you can turn off on the rotator. You can turn legs on and off, and you can add the codes here. So, but for me, right, I'm only putting in the codes where on the leg that I'm actually building on. I'm not putting everybody's code in, just the codes that I'm building and starting off. And once again, I'll freely admit, I'm experimenting and I'm figuring this out as we go as well, right? And so it's not 100% perfect. We only launched it 3 days ago, but you can start to see the promise. You can start to see the potential of this when we get this dialed in. All right, so you got your rotator controls here, and you can have 3 legs here, and you can turn them on and off. And so if these are off, then they're not going to focus on building on either one of those legs. If they're on, what it's going to do is it's going to put my code here, and it's going to say put the first 3 people in, and then once it's got those 3 built in, it's going to go to the next one down, and the next one down, and the next one down as we go into that space, right? So you got your rotator controls here to turn people on and off on that space. You can see here basically the team that's been built out as well, where everybody else has got these things. Now I've got these ones paused. So they're not running into that one. They're running into a space where I'm forcing people to go on. Now, if I wanted to actually pause them, I've got to be someone as my personal that I've actually put in. I can't just pause anybody's. I've got to pause my own, conversation, right? Into that space. So now I can turn those on and off as we go as well, to turn the controls on and off just with a click of a switch, to bypass the tree and move to the next one. And so I can toggle to reactivate it just with a click of a switch like that. And now it'll start to go down there. Now, once again, if it's not working 100%, this is where we need to go to use the support. So I can understand support's going to be flooded for a little while here until we get a few of these bugs out of the system. I want to really pre-frame it. This is something that has just been launched, and we've done the best that we can to make sure it's a smooth launch, but there's always going to be bugs. And so this is where we get it right, and we'll just continue to get better, and we'll continue to get dialed in, and we continue to go back through that conversation. So I'm sort of doing a bit of a 10,000 foot overview right now for you all. The big thing here is make sure you go to your profile, set up your own code, put in your image, put in some details around here. Turn the alerts on. So when you've got new leads going here, and come in and experiment with this conversation and play around with it. Start to understand, click and play, figure out what's doing what, just like we're doing here right now, to be able to see this powerful system in play. So let's go and open up the Q&A now, and we'll answer some questions. So Sarah, I'll get you to come on stage now for me, my champion, and you're going to basically be the person who helps me to ask the questions, and we'll answer them together, and away we go. All right, so Sarah, what's the first question?
Good stuff. Good stuff. We have Michelle. I keep getting stuck on the funnel links copied step 5. It states go to profile and enter ARM code. I have done that. Takes me to profile on enter ARM code. Where is that?
Okay. So it sounds like you're doing everything right, and it sounds like you need to go to support. So go and run a support ticket straight away. Beyond that one, because it sounds like if you tried 5 times, it's a glitch, and it probably just needs to go through to support. Just ask the question again. What was the end of that question again? Sorry, Sarah.
She was just asking where it was. She's done that. Take me to the profile to enter the new ARM code. I think, if I'm not mistaken, on the profile, once you enter the code,
it should show up here like this.
Right, it should show up there.
Correct. So you don't just go in and enter a new code here for your team members and all that sort of thing. That's your profile, if that's correct, if I'm asking.
Right. And if that's not showing up there, then yeah, you would definitely want to submit a support ticket.
Yeah, so you want to confirm that it's definitely showing up there for you. Okay, next question.
Alrighty, David Miller. Do we put our link in here, or the person under us we want to placement to be put? We want us to placement. Okay, let me try it again. Do we put our link in here, or the person under us we want the placement to be put?
So you're going to put your first link in here. The challenge that we had with the way that we were building is we were all sharing personals, right? And, like for me, I've lost count. That must be close to 150 plus personals since I've been doing this for the last 3 months to help people to rank up and to get them in that space. So the idea here with this system is we're using my affiliate link, if you will, with the my code on there, and that's the rotator now. So now I can track where my personals are being placed underneath the team. So you want to start with your top code, and then the people that you're at the moment, this will start to bring in everybody as we go. I'm just saying what I'm doing here for the intentionality of laser focused energy on where I need the traffic and the people to go. I'm just sort of putting in the codes for that third leg, if you will, and focusing in on that attention. So I started with my top code, and Dave, I would have put yours in next, and I've asked you to go register to the system. So you're registered to me as one of my personals. And I've done the same thing with people that I put underneath you as personals. I've gone to them directly and said, register to my link as me being the personal referrer, if you will. And then they've got the codes in the system to be able to share. So when I just share the link now, from now on, I just share my link. I don't have to go worry about thinking about what codes are and all of that sort of thing, because the rotator system will just keep putting people in. And it essentially takes the favoritism out of the conversation. It takes the humanness out of the conversation, and it's just relying on our system to go in place. And so the idea here is it goes 3 by 3 all the way down. So it'll put 3 people underneath you. It'll go put 3 people underneath Yank. It'll go put 3 people underneath Elvie, 3 people underneath Dazza, and away we go. And just help to, put 3 under their 3. And so we need to continue to keep feeding in the codes for the rotator link to work, right? Because if it's gone through, and it's already put 3 and 3 and 3 and everybody in that you've already fed it, it's going to go back to your original link because now the system's broken, right? It's not actually functional, and so it's just going to continue to put people under your direct link. And we've had that happen already. I know Josh is working on a fix for that bug, but it'll continue to just put people underneath the right person in the next system that is active. Right, so if you turn off one leg, it's not going to focus on that leg. That's why we can turn on and off those rotator legs in that space. Makes sense. So hopefully that helps to answer that question for you, Dave.
Okay.
And if I've just created a more mess and you're not clear on the instructions, please ask the question again in a different way, and we'll get there. All right, next question, please.
Okay, so we have David Ray. I see there is 619 leads total. I haven't seen any come my way yet. How many have total? Wait, sorry. How many have total have signed into Pro AI Finance?
619 leads.
So I
I'm going
think, yeah, go ahead.
in our initial early first 24-hour launch, there was a bug in the system that was showing everybody's leads in the system who had operated, not just not just your leads or anyone in your team. It was basically everybody. That was a bug. I know that that's been updated, and so if you're still seeing that on your end, sometimes what happens with the internet when I built thousands of websites and thousands of funnels, right? So I know this is how the internet works. When you're a developer, you push out the new update. And the idea of the internet is it'll push it out for you everywhere around the globe. But what happens is the internet does what they call caching. And so this is to help speed, right? So it'll cache the last sort of variant of the update that may be already a couple of days or 3 days old. So sometimes if you're not seeing what you need to be sent and this is where as a developer, one of the first things I like to troubleshoot is go clear your browser history or clear your cache. And if it's still doing it after the fact, like you're still seeing all that, then that's a support ticket issue, and you go to the support as the next level. But technically, you're only meant to be seeing your leads and your team leads from your downline, not everybody. Hopefully that helps to clarify that question. Sarah, unless you've got a different answer, of course. I'd love to hear your insight.
That's good. All right, so next we have Dave Miller again. I noticed when I add team members, they all end up as level 1. How does this work? I think you went over that, if I'm not mistaken.
So if you're adding them all directly to you as level 1, as your personals, then yeah, they're all going to be level 1 is my understanding. So you need to go down the line, right? You need to, get people to, your level 1, you add them, then you go tell your people to go follow the same system and duplicate and get them to go do their thing. And that'll start to create the cascade effect with the levels down, level 1, 2, 3. But it sounds like to me that you've gone ahead and just copy and pasted everybody's code in. And so the system's recognizing they're all as your level 1s. Look, technically, it really doesn't matter as such. It's going to just go down the line, put 3, 3, and 3, and 3 in that space. So, you could say that they're your level 1s because they're your personal directs versus, team going down the fact. So if you wanted to really use the team structure, you would have to get them to sign up to the system, for them to go put their accounts in and go through there. So hopefully that helps answer that question.
Yep. And then Michelle, can you edit team member's name? I just put first names, not whole name.
Good question. I actually haven't figured that one out myself yet. So there you go. I haven't got an answer for you for that one, Michelle, because I haven't had an opportunity to go and test and break that one for you. So if you can work it out, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, go to support.
Okay, Surge. I can see everyone leads in rotator. It has a question mark, so I'm guessing that's a question. So I guess, can I see everyone's leads in a rotator? Maybe. It will show.
It'll show your team and your people and your below you. That's what technically should be, yeah.
Gotcha. And it says it will show my sign up goes
So says that got answered. It was answered before. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I thought. It was a similar question, just did ask a different way.
Got you. Robin Jordan, once the rotator is set, will it go down each level, putting 3 under each person? Curious to how the rotator is placing people. I know you can shut off certain leads, but want to know the rotator process.
Yeah, so, and once again, this is all in theory and it's how it's technically meant to work. And, and progress and perfection, that type of thing can be a different conversation because it's, it is a little bit buggy to start with, right? We're working the bugs out. But technically, the way it's meant to work is you put your top code in, and if you've already got your 3 personals, which I know I definitely do, and Robin, I know that you definitely do, there is an option on your profile there you can tick to say, got my 3 personals. So what that's doing is telling the rotator you've got your 3 personals, so to go down to the next one. And then if your people have got them, then it'll just keep going down to the next one. The idea is it'll keep going down the line till it finds someone who has not got 3 personals and go put the next person in the next best spot under that next person. Hopefully that helps answer your question. And yes, you can go in and turn on and off manually in the rotator. You can turn legs on and off, and you can turn people individually on and off.
Okay. And some of the questions I'm going through, and you answered a lot of those, which is the 3 people adding. So I'm going through some of them.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of my team add team member link?
Yeah, that's to put the person. If you add the team member and you add the team member's link into that conversation, you are telling the system to put it into the rotator. So I've obviously got a team of 1,700 plus people. I'm not going to go put in individually everybody into the team. Like the team's got to do that themselves if they want to use that. But what I'm doing is I'm looking through at the moment, say on my legs, and for me to hit the next rank of magnet, I need someone to go to prime, right? So I'm looking at what can I do as a leader to help one of these key leaders to go to prime so they can rank up. So I'm going and finding their codes for their team to be able to put into my rotator system so I can start sharing my personals and put them underneath that. Hopefully that helps answer the question.
Okay.
And obviously,
Jeff,
once that person's been built, I can turn that on and off. Yeah. Can you show how to turn an entire leg off or turn one person off? Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Scott, let me answer that question while Sarah comes up with the next one. So you're going to go to your rotator. You're going to go to rotator controls to turn off an entire leg, right? So I've got David and Sarah. These are the separate legs that I'm sort of building under the moment. I just quickly turn it off. That turns off the entire leg, right? To go and do the individuals, and you can only technically do your individual people. You're going to go to team members, not team members, it's rotator, sorry. You're going to go rotator, and there's a button here on your people where you can turn them on and off as well. See there, that's one of mine. There's a button there I can toggle on and off. See, that's not one of mine, so I haven't got a button. Not one of mine, so I haven't got a button. So you can only do it, you can hover over them, the ones that are technically yours that you've put into the system, and it'll have an on and off button there as well. Hopefully that'll answer that question, Scott. Perfect, thanks. Cool. I'm trying to add people underneath me, but the system is requiring add an email to them. Yeah, so if your personals, right, you'll have their email. And so just add their email. If they're not your personals, you don't have their email, we'll go and ask them for their email. But yes, you do need the email. Any other questions you can see there, Sarah? All right, guys, we've got probably about another 8 minutes for Q&A.
8 minutes. So I'm going through them, but some of them have been answered already. So please. Okay, so we went over that. I still do not see my add. Okay, I still do not see my add to home screen button. My team members have it, and I see Jeff has it. Should I submit a support ticket, Terry? That one actually, mine actually showed up a few days ago when he first did it. But then for some reason it disappeared. So I just refreshed the screen and just logged back in, and it came back up there at the top.
Sounds like an update, caching issue. Doesn't mean only your personals will be in the rotator. So what it means is we've got to get past the language here of personals, right? Because I've shared a heap of personals, and technically, the ones that I've shared with, they would be Dave's personals, they would be Sarah's personals, they're other people's personals. Sorry, I've just got a knock at the door, Sarah. Can you just continue I'll come back to that conversation. Sorry,
okay.
I've got a postmate. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, let's see, question. So the rotator will work properly if it depends on your team adding their affiliates into the system. Yeah, so just like he explained, it looks like I guess the easiest way for us to do it is us signing up our 3 personally, and then them doing the same thing. Because once they actually get their 3 people, then they can actually turn off their own account. So then that way everything will go beneath them. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, I think the easiest way for us to do it is have everybody put their direct people in themselves.
Yeah, like if you personally put them into Aurum, whether you've shared them or not, you put them into your system. And that's the idea, is we can track where our people are going and how they're being looked after as well in that conversation, whether we put them under someone or not. in that space. So, you know, basically the system will only put people underneath you if you put them into the system. If they're not in the system, you can't expect people to go underneath them.
Right. And then someone was asking earlier, if one thing is if you're already in ARM, then the first thing you want to do is go to the proaifinance.com/sign dash up. And I can put the link in the chat here. That's the first thing you want to do to actually sign up if you're already in ARM. And then from
Correct.
there, go to the roadmap.
Yeah, so yeah, that's definitely one way, but we also want to start creating the behavior too of that they need to go directly to their person who sponsored them into Aurum to go get
Yes.
that link. Now, I understand not everybody's on this call, right? So that's not going to be the real world, conversation. So yes, just go directly to that link and make sure that you're not necessarily giving your direct sponsor in Aurum the person whoever invited you into Aurum, wherever you're placed in, that's the person that you want to make sure you're giving back to. Okay, a bit more specific. I have a second leg which needs to rank on one of her legs. If I toggle off my other two legs for a period of time, how can I help her rank that leg with the rotator? Or is that not possible to do? Will it need to be done manually? I would say that case, Marnie, it needs to be done manually. That's breaking the system, like because it's in a different leg. So I would just personally just do that, treat that one manually. So once again, guys, is your GPS on your car. Its job is to get you from point A to point B and give you the best road possible to get there. Now, if you've driven that road multiple times and you know there's a better way that it's given you, you go take that road, right? These are tools. They're not to be reliant on. They're to assist us. They're to empower us. They're to help us, but never to be reliant on. Because like if the GPS in my car, right, it told me to go through and it's relying on 5-year-old maps. And then all of a sudden there's a new road change. And the way that it's taking me is going to take me into, a body of water. Am I going to follow that blindly? No. I'm gonna say that's probably not right, and bring in my own humanness, if you will, my own education, and the word I'm looking for is my own discernment, my own wisdom into the conversation, and go do follow that path. These are tools to assist us. Now there will be circumstances, just like Marnie's question, where the tool doesn't support what we need to achieve, the goal that we need to achieve. So this is a way to help us to run faster. It's a way to help the conversation to do the 3x3 strategy and bring in some sort of systemization to that conversation. But no system ever is perfect. So you've got to, there's exceptions to the rule. Right. 3 more questions. So one last question.
All right, go ahead. You pick. Which one you want?
All right. So if people are not building, so they're not interested in setting up their own funnel, is it best just to add them to your team? They'll show up as level 1. Yep, 100%. So there are a lot of people in Aurum. I couldn't give you exact percentage, but I'm going to take a guess. It'd probably say 65 to 70% of our team are not interested in building. They're purely in it for themselves. They're putting the tool to work, put it to making sure that their money's been multiplied, and that the way I can tell you that is because I've got 17+ people in my team, and only 220 odd who have ranked up in Voyager and above, right? So that shows me that they haven't even activated, so they've got started, and for whatever reason they haven't activated, or B, they're putting the funds to work and they leveraging the tool to get more bang for their buck, but they're not worried about inviting. How do we invite people? So that's a great question there, Daniel. So let me answer that question just quickly. Now, how are we inviting people to the system, or how are we inviting people to Aurum? So I need to get more specific on that answer, that question, right? If I'm taking people to Aurum, I will just go here and I share this link. It's got everybody in my rotator, and I just continue to share that link when people are interested. Hey, you want to know more about Aurum? Great, here you go. This will give you everything you need to know to help you to get started and make sure this is a good fit for you first. Blah blah blah. Right? To invite them into our system. Sarah, can you share the link again? It's proaifinance.com/sign up.
I just posted it there.
Thank you. All right. Yep. One last question. Having said that, Jeff, I always place them under my 3 and down, even if they didn't want to build business because the things too soft. Yep. That's entirely your decision, Marnie. You know, that's, you know, I do the same thing. I know some people are only focusing on building where they need to rank up and all that conversation. But the idea of this is this helps to streamline that process and take a little bit of that conversation out of the equation. So we're all doing the 3x3 and as we go.
And Sharon, yes to your answer. She was asking
That link
yes.
I think you shared, Sarah, you only shared it to host and panelists, not to everyone. So it's all right. There you go, to everyone.
Okay, got you.
All right, there you go. So there you go, guys. So we'll stay on for another couple of minutes. There's the link, proafinance.com/sign up, sign dash up. All right, so now everyone should see that link. All right, guys. So whilst everybody's bookmarking and saving that link, first off, I want to thank Sarah. You know, Sarah, you're an absolute legend and really, really appreciate you, the way that you've jumped in and just supported our team here from day one, you know, hosting the Power Hour calls and everything that you do to help us to leverage the crypto space, the Aurum space, and now with this amazing new tool. You are definitely the epitome of the definition of a servant heart leader. If you looked it up in the dictionary, you would see a face of Sarah being put there, because she's just, you know, what it takes to obviously pour from your heart. And to be honest, you know, I know as a servant heart leader myself, that comes from almost a space of obsession to see other people to be empowered and equipped and to win in this game. And Sarah, so thank you very much for everything that you do in the way that you continue to serve our amazing community. For those of you,
Thank you.
who don't know, I appreciate you, Sarah. For those of you who don't know, Sarah hosts a daily Power Hour call Monday to Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to www.worldtimebuddy.com to do your own time conversions, or ask your sponsor to help you with that, or ChatGPT or Google. But it's 10 p.m. New York time every day, Monday to Saturday USA time. So for us down under, that is Sunday to Tuesday. So, you know, Sarah likes to have Sunday off, just like Chick-fil-A does, right? Got to give Sarah.
That's right.
So they're a brilliant call for, they're a meeting type call. So everybody's on the call. We can see each other's faces. We can open our mics up and we can do Q&A. These type of calls that we run on a Wednesday night or Thursday morning for us Aussies are more the overall team training. They will continue to run as we run in that space. I'm going to step in and take more ownership of those conversations as well, and to just help to give Josh a bit more time to do what he needs to do from a CEO perspective for Freedom Pro. So we'll continue to run those calls, and as we grow, we're going to continue to dial in the call structure. But the ones that you know that you can bank on are these Wednesday night calls and the daily Power Hour calls for that Q&A support. As we get into the system, as you can see, right, we're going to be doing less and less opportunity calls done as a team. However, that said, I know some of the best converting conversations that I've personally been running are the ones that we've done, like private inner circle Zoom calls for the leader, you know, to bring in their community, right? They're brought in myself or Josh to present for them and for their team, for their people. And so I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to leverage myself, especially, to be able to present for your community. If you want me to come in and do that conversation, I know Kim Sarson, I'll give her a huge shout out the other day. Kim and Hopeton put together a community of about 20 people. I came on and we did a presentation. We did a Q&A at the end of it all. And they are definitely one of the most effective ways that we've used to do like opportunity calls, you know, that space. So more than happy to put my time aside to be able to support you as a leader to be able to host those calls. So just reach out to me if you need to. If you haven't not connected with me personally on Facebook or on Telegram, here's my email. So jeff@lld.email, just send me an email and we can set something up in that space. So guys, you know, as we start to leverage this tool and this amazing system with this rotator link, we're all empowering ourselves to go and equip and run a lot faster, to go and take this amazing team of 2,500 people that we built in the last 3 months to 25,000 people in the next 3 months, the next 6 months, whatever that takes, right? Is we're building these out to help us to run a lot faster. So Sarah, before we wrap up, do you have anything you want to add to today's conversation?
No, I think you did an amazing job. I'm just happy to be here to assist.
And so my encouragement for each and every one of you is put yourself in a position where forced intentional growth is required. You know, you can tell I haven't got that system totally 100% dialed in myself yet, as I know it's a little bit clinky and clunky and buggy, and I'm figuring it out as I go. But I wanted to intentionally put myself in a position for forced intentional growth required to be in a space to show you that all we need to do in this game is just be a guide on the journey. Right? When it talks about mindship and mindset, leadership, affiliate marketing, traction marketing, I'm your guy, I'm your expert. You know, but talking about figuring out a new system, we figure things out as we go together, right? We embrace Sucksville and we'll get to Awesome Town together. So get in, have a play, experiment, break it down. If it's glitchy and you've tried to figure it out, go to support, use the support system on the dashboard. Please don't flood the team chats with us support questions because that's not what they're designed for. And technically, we are not support. We're all affiliates in that space, and we don't have access to the back end of the system to be able to go help you. So we're always going to point you back to support, back to support, back to support. But if you've got questions around strategy, techniques, marketing, leadership, then definitely use the team chats for those conversations. All right, Sarah, thank you very much for your assistance as always. Love working with you. And team, thank you very much for just being absolutely awesome. My heart's desire is to see each and every one of you to step up and be a leader who creates other leaders, leveraging amazing opportunities and tools just like what we have here to be able to equip and empower other people to do that. And then, yes, of course, to go and have the $1,000 days, the $2,000 days, the $3,000 days that I'm now personally starting to see. And all of that comes through just putting ourselves into position to force intentional growth required to make it happen. And we work it out as we go together. And my heart is to see you guys having the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 days, the $100,000 in 3 months. I'm now stepping my goals up to having $100,000 in the next 30 days, right? So the bar is set, the pace is set. We're getting things in tools, systems to be able to go build on the shoulders of giants and go do bigger and better things than ever I could do. And my heart is to see you go do the same thing. So look forward to seeing you on our next call.